I'll be real with you. I messed up Verge Golf. Not the idea, not the content, not the mission. I messed up the story. I'm filming the journey to try and qualify for the US Open. One of the hardest things to do in golf. And I haven't been telling that story clearly. There's no protagonist, there's no conflict, no real emotional stake, no real narrative that people can follow. Just me filming range sessions, posting round, and hoping viewers somehow piece together what the story actually is. Great footage, great moments, no story arc. And then that's when it hit me. Every time a brand feels flat, every time a creator loses momentum, every time a company feels like just another product, it's because there's no story to care about. That is the law. Brand narrative. Brand narrative is the ongoing story that your brand tells about who you are, what you're fighting for, and what journey you're inviting people into. If brand positioning is the idea, narrative is the story that brings that idea to life. Without narrative, everything feels like just content. With narrative, everything feels like a chapter into something bigger. And people don't usually follow just content. They follow journey. Humans don't attach to products. Humans attach to stories because stories organize meaning, trigger emotion, and guide identity. A product lives on a shelf. A story lives in someone's mind. Brands with no story, they're forgettable. Brands with a great story, they feel alive. When I moved to Phoenix, I didn't tell that story either. I didn't talk about how isolating it was to restart my life in a new place, how hard it was to build a community from scratch, how scary it can be to chase your dreams with no safety net. I didn't tell people what I was fighting for or what I was becoming. And because I wasn't telling that story, nobody could follow it. Every person watching this has been through a moment where they changed cities, changed jobs, changed relationships, and had no narrative to explain what it all meant. A brand without narrative feels just like that. Alive on the outside, but quiet on the inside. So this is the four elements of brand narrative. 1, the protagonist. This is not you, not the founder, not the product. It's the role your brand plays in culture. For example, Nike is the hero, Harley is the rebel, Airbnb is the everyman, Apple is the creator. When you choose the protagonist, you choose the tone of everything. Number 2, the quest. The ongoing mission your brand is leading. Nike is human potential, Airbnb is belonging anywhere, Tesla is the future, Jordan Brand was building legend. A brand with no quest has no direction. Number 3 is the conflict. Every story needs tension, not drama, but tension. Apple versus conformity, Dove versus beauty stereotype, Patagonia versus environmental destruction, Wrexham versus obscurity. Conflict makes your narrative human. Lastly, number 4 is the transformation, the emotional change your audience experiences through your brand. Disney gives magic, Peloton gives you strength, Nike gives you belief, Patagonia gives you purpose. Transformation is why people become fans of you. Now let's look at the farmer's dog, who didn't win because of its product. They won because of their narrative. The protagonist was the caregiver, the brand that actually loves your dog. The quest to give dogs healthy, real food, not factory kibble. The quest to give dogs healthy, real. The conflict, industrial pet food companies treating dogs like number. The transformation, your dog becomes happier, healthier, and more alive. When a brand makes you cry, that's narrative. That's transformation, and that is why they scale. Now let's go to the other side. Google Plus had everything. Massive funding, elite tech, perfect design, huge distribution. What they didn't have was a narrative. There was no protagonist, no quest, no conflict, no transformation. It wasn't fighting for anything. It wasn't helping you become anything. It wasn't part of any story worth joining. It was a product with no world around it. And that's why people didn't care. So let's move on to the 3 levels of brand narrative. Level 1, macro narrative, the worldview, the myth. Level 2, mid narrative, the chapters, the campaign. Level 3, micro narrative, the daily story, the real moment, the small arc. Your job is to connect to myth, to the chapters, to the moment. If you do that, then you're going to build a culture. A brand narrative isn't one story. It's a universe that the brand lives inside. Consistent tone, recurring symbol, a visual language, emotional arcs, characters, identity. That's why Marvel works. That's why Star Wars works. That's why Nike works. Brands don't build campaign. They're building world. If you want to build real narrative, answer these 4 questions. What role does your brand play in culture? What quest are you leading? What are you fighting against? How does your audience transform through you? If you can answer these questions, then your brand becomes alive. If Law 1 is who you are in the world, Law 2 is the journey you're inviting us on. And in Law 3, we talk about the fuel that makes people care, the emotional engine of great marketing. I'll see you there.